Hey everyone, this is Mike Lovelace with Real Dead, and today we're going to take a look at Cuckoo. This is going to be a spoiler-free part at the beginning and then spoiler part towards the end of this. I'll put a flash in here like, hey, cut this off if you want to go see this movie. But hey, what do I think about it? I'm not going to tell you to the very end, or at least right before we go into the spoiler part. So this movie is a lot of hype on it this year, right? I mean, a lot of anticipation for it. I do think this movie is going to be a very divisive movie in the horror community. This thing is considered a thriller, a horror, mystery. It's only been out for a day. 117 reviews from critics, and they give it a 78, which is really high. 64 from the audience, which is not bad starting out. One of our favorite channels to watch, Josh and I, he has not seen this movie yet. That's the reason why I'm giving this review, is Cody Leach. Cody gives it a really high score. So it's really divisive. Some is really high, really low, some in the middle, some say it's awful. But, hey, let's talk about it a little bit. So the synopsis of this movie, and this is on Rotten Tomatoes. You can pick up a lot of this in the trailer. And this may be the problem I have with this movie, is maybe the trailer gave it way too much. But I'm going to give the synopsis, and if this is a spoiler, I'm sorry, but this is off Rotten Tomatoes. It says, reluctantly, a 17-year-old Gretchen leaves her American home to live with her father, who's just moved to a resort in Germany Alps with his new family. Arriving at their future residence, they are greeted by Mr. Koenig, her father's boss, who takes an inexplicable interest in Gretchen's mute half-sister Alma. Something doesn't seem right in this tranquil vacation paradise. Gretchen is plagued by strange noises and bloody visions until she discovers a shocking secret that also concerns her own family. So the director in this movie also is Tillman Singer. I think he has a previous movie 4, 5, 6 years ago called Lutz, Luz. I heard it's kind of out there, but maybe worth trying out if you like this movie. Screenwriter was same guy. He did it all. And Neon is the distributor of this. So, let's talk about the actors, because I want to say up front, no matter what I say about this movie, good or bad, the acting was incredible. Hunter Schafer, incredible job. Dan Stevens steals the show. Jessica Henwick, she's in here. She plays Beth. And then her father was Martin Sakis. I probably missaid that. But the acting was great in this movie. The cinematography was great in this movie. This takes place in the Alps, Bavarian Alps. So pretty scenery, countryside, mountains, snow on top. That takes place not in the snow, don't get me wrong. It's one of those movies, though, that if you've seen the trailer, you're going to see a lot in it. The story is just, it's a tough, anybody that's been in a situation where you have, half siblings and stuff like that, you kind of get that. This is kind of a spoiler in it, but I'd already said it was her half sister. You kind of get that vibe right off the bat where just something's not right in his family. You also get the vibe that something's not right at this place they're staying at. Something's not right in this whole area. So, that's trying to not go too far into spoilers with this. Again, very divisive. What people will think about it, if they like it, if they don't like it. But I'm going to go ahead and give you, I know we're only 4 minutes into this video. I'm going to go ahead and give you my opinion on this. And again, this is my opinion. This is not Josh's opinion, because he may totally think something totally opposite than I do. But I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5, a 5 out of 10. It just wasn't for me. And the reason I'm going to say, I'm not going to go into spoilers, we'll talk about that a little bit here in a second, is just the craziness of it. I'm not going to say cuckoo, but the bizarreness of the movie. Some may call this elevated horror, and I've heard people say, well, they don't want to hold your hand and tell you every little thing. There is a lot of twists and turns in this movie. That's something that you may like. It did grab my attention because I'm trying to guess what's going on the whole time. and then it ended up being nothing that I thought it could be. So they did get me on that one. Again, cinematography great, acting great, but story is just out there for me. And if you consider this elevated horror, um, I'm not a big elevated horror fan. A movie I kind of would say this. I've heard a couple other critics say they thought this movie was similar to was maybe Midsummer. Some of y'all that really loved that movie, you may like this one too because great cinematography, great outdoor, video, kind of the weirdness of it. But that's it. 2.5 out of 5 or 5 out of 10. And now let's talk about spoilers. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. All right. So why I did not like this film. And let's get into the storyline. So Gretchen, who's played by Hunter, moves into this, her family moves into this town, into this resort area. And right off the bat, something's weird. She comes there and people are coming up and saying, "Hey, how are you?" Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, people were saying, "Well, I haven't met you yet." And it was like, she's like, "Well, how would you even know who I am? How do you know about me?" So things were kind of odd right off the bat. Also, her half sister, who's mute in this movie, her and the dog are sitting there listening to something in the woods. And so you get a vibe that something's going on with the woods. So then things start happening at this resort. She gets a part-time job there. She's working at night. They say, don't leave after 10 o'clock. And then one night her coworker wants to go out and have fun. So she does. So then she's stuck. And then the guy calls and says, "Hey," Mr. Connor goes, "Hey, I'll just come get you. Don't leave." Well, she leaves anyway. She gets on the bicycle. And you saw this in the trailer, which to me probably hurt this. To me, this was not scary at all. The jump scares did not get me at all. When I say it's not scary at all, the concept of it's scary. But again, the trailers told me so much, it didn't come across as scary to me. But when she's pedaling that bike and all of a sudden she sees somebody running to the right of her, and then she looks by, she sees to the left of her shadow going ahead of her, and somebody chasing her shadow, and then she looks behind her and sees something. That's pretty spooky. I will give them credit for that. But I saw it in the trailer. There is, I'm not going to get too far into here with the spoilers into it, but I will say it's really bizarre. Oh, no, let me just go ahead and tell you. The basis of this movie is the title Cuckoo. And they explain this in the movie, which I do like this aspect of it. They're saying in real life, in the wild, that a cuckoo bird will lay its eggs into another bird's nest so that other bird's mother will nurture them and, kind of feed them and grow them till they move on. And that's kind of the twist of this movie. This movie is something weird in the woods. These humanoid type things come out of the woods, and they have the sound they have is like a screeching sound. It reminds me of The Ring. When you hear the music for The Ring in the background, you see that crazy video going on, you hear that high-pitched squeal or screech at the beginning. That's what you kind of hear in this movie. But this whole movie is about they find out that this little girl, who is the sister of Gretchen, which is Hunter, her parents, her father and her stepmother went to this same resort, or went to a resort 8 years ago on a honeymoon. And what had happened was her mother, the host, was implanted with this child, which is the mute child. So the whole time, the girl that's mute is a humanoid as well. She's this wild creature. So she's this wild creature, like humanoid thing, that once she becomes of age, she will also host, she will also be like a mother and come back. So that's the thing too, is that the mother of this Koenig is trying to come back, or they're wanting it to come back to be with her as well, if I'm not mistaken. I may have messed that up, but that's kind of the principle of it. But it's really out there. There's another detective gets involved with this, and Dan Stevens does a great job. Right off the bat, he's the bad guy, and yeah, he's a villain in this, and he plays a good villain, and he's speaking German, very fluent in this. You can tell he's very well versed in speaking German, but it's just out there. I just couldn't get it. It was interesting. It was interesting to watch. Do I think it's worth streaming down the road or watching at home? Sure. Would I go pay for it again? No. Um, my wife said it was the worst movie she's seen. My son fell asleep 15 minutes into it, and we woke him up 5 minutes before we left. So that's all I'm going to say about it. I did tell you the spoilers of it. The ending I will not tell you about, but it's a little bit bizarre as well. And you don't know if there's going to be another one coming out or not. I think this thing has a lot of potential. And if the story was a little more clear, and I'm sure it was done intentional, probably part of that elevated part of it, I think there will be a part two where you find out more about these, I'm calling them humanoid type, people, and them trying to come back and, and get their offspring or host. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm still confused with it, but that's my take on it. Again, the acting is great. I've said that probably 10 times, but this is just not for me. Tell me what you guys think in the comments of this movie. This, review, is it something you've seen and you like, you dislike? But it was a definite twist in the movie, definite twist. And there was a lot of blood in this movie also. My opinion, there wasn't any really great kills. But I'd give this director another try if he puts another movie out in the future. And I'm sure there's going to be a part two to this one as well. Thank you guys. Please like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you later.